Hey, how you doing? Nathan here. I recently made a video, not so recent anymore, but I made a video about day in a life at Waterloo. A couple people have asked me for some advice, and I wanted to do a video about 7 things I wish I knew before university. Let's get right into her. Well, first things first, congrats on making university. It's probably pretty tough for you. It was tough for me at least, but congrats, you made it. And if you just made it to university by chilling, congrats to you. But these are 7 lessons that I wish I knew before university. So, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is for majority of people. When I first started university, I didn't really know what I wanted. Even though I picked the program and even though I worked so hard to get there, I didn't really know if that was what I wanted. And you know what? That kind of never left me. I'm still here wondering if this is what I wanted. That's what brings me to my first point, is that I wish somebody had told me that university is great if you know what you want. Here's what I mean by that. I'm 5 years in and I graduated now. I have a good full-time job and I'm very blessed with everything, but I don't really love what I do. I don't feel that, that passion and that drive. I like it, don't get me wrong. It definitely is interesting to me, but is this what I want to do for the next 20 years? I don't know. And I hope that I can find something that I love to do and I am obsessed with, and something that really just triggers something in me, Which brings me to my second point. Anything can be a job. If you really could think about it, what a job comes down to, at the very end of the day, is simply just something that you do that makes money. After reading so many of these success stories and listening to these podcasts, I've realized that anything can really be income generating. I wish I knew that earlier, You could turn your hobbies into full-on businesses if you do it right and if it brings enough value. I feel like for me, that would have been such an eye-opener. I would have been willing to take more risks into doing things, because before I started uni, I thought that the only way to be successful is to find a full-time job, and then once you get a full-time job, then you can buy a house and, the cookie cutter, and that's not the case. I wish I knew that sooner. Obviously, there's other stuff that plays into it, and there's risks, but at the end of the day, you could turn anything into a business. If that business is sustainable, then why not do it? So, the third thing that I wish I knew was you should take advice, right? But don't always take everyone's advice as the truth. I think it's very easy when you're a kid or when you're growing up to listen to your elders because that's what you're taught, right? But I've kind of realized that everybody's opinions has been curated by their own experiences. Let's say somebody invested in stocks and lost all their money in stocks. Well, more likely or not, that person would probably tell you, hey, don't invest in stocks, man. Like, you'll lose all your money. That's technically not wrong in their thought, because they lost all their money in stocks, and that's what they think now. Stocks is a money-losing thing. But let's say somebody invested in real estate and they lost all their money in real estate. Now they're like, don't invest your money in real estate, invest your money in stocks. So it's really experience dependent. Everybody thinks differently, and that's what makes you unique from everybody else. If you're just a follower and you take everybody's advice as real cold fact truth, then you'll find yourself not really having your own opinions. And it's okay to disagree with people, and it's okay to have your own opinions. That's what makes you you, and that's honestly your asset. The fourth lesson, there's no textbook to success. If you're going to uni, you probably have spoken to some alumni, maybe some people already in the program. If you talked about how they got their internships. But if you really followed each step and you followed their step-by-step instruction to get to their whatever they achieved, their internship, their project, whatever, you won't get that same success. I read this book called The Outliers recently. Not too recently, a couple months now. But it really opened my eye to how people achieve success. In every success story, there is always a bit of luck. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's true. There's this example in the Outliers story. So you probably know what the NHL is. 80%, I think that was the statistic. I think around 80% of the players in the NHL are born from January to June, which is kind of crazy, right? Turns out, I don't know how hockey works because I've never played it, but when the players get scouted to join the next team, the players that are born in the earlier months are more developed. And because of that, they're more likely to get selected to go to the next team, which has more training, so on and so forth. And because they got that head start when they're a kid, they spent that extra hours and that extra training, they're more likely to be better, and once they're better, they're more likely to commit and move on to the next stage. So just because you're born from January to June and you hit puberty earlier, you're more likely to get to the NHL. So that brings me back to my point, is that there's no textbook to success. Even if you follow the same training as the guy born in January, if you're born in November, you won't get to the NHL, or it'll be a lot harder for you because you did hit puberty later, you know? That's actually so stupid, by the way. And this applies to every type of success, and the world is constantly changing, so just because something worked 5 years ago doesn't mean it'll work today. My fifth thing that I wish I knew is that you shouldn't compare yourself, because everybody is unique and everybody has their own thoughts, and it's really easy, you know, to compare yourself, especially with social media and whatnot. You yourself are your own unique person, and we all know that phrase, the grass is greener on this other side, and it's honestly true. You don't know what the other person is going through, you don't know what their life is like, and just because it looks fun doesn't mean they're having the time of their life. So you create your own happiness, you create your own path. Don't compare yourself, because that will bring a lot of negativity. That's something I learned a little later. I used to compare myself a lot and bring myself down and be like, dang. But I'm also a very competitive person, so I'm always comparing to the next person, and I want to be better, you know? So it can be good and bad, but just know that it's not always, it's probably not good to do that. These last 2 points are kind of unrelated to the others, but they're related to each other. Is that you should learn to fail. I wish I took more risks when I was a kid. Not when I was a kid. I'm still kind of a kid, I guess. I'm entering the last year of my early 20s, so I do feel a little old now. But I wish I took more risks, which I don't know how to explain that, but I wish I explored more, and I wish I tried different things, because a lot of the time I was too scared, and I also spent a lot of my university sulking, because I don't know, I just felt like university was passing by so fast, and like COVID hit, so like I don't know, I spent a lot of time like just being sad. Nothing really happened that major. It's just like I kind of just I didn't really look forward, and I kind of looked backwards, and because of that I wasn't really present, and I wish I had a more open mind. Sorry, my light died. I wish I was more proactive, and I wish I was more open-minded, because I feel like I had a really hardened heart at that time. So, my last point, and something I remind myself to this day, is that it's never too late. It's never too late to try something new. I have a lot of respect for those who change careers and stuff, because it's a really big risk, man. It's really scary, but sometimes when some things are scary, it kind of makes me feel like something has to be right, you know? It's better to do it now than 20 years down the line and wish you did it. But even then, years down the line, do it, you know? It never hurts to try. Obviously, like, don't take like big risks, you know? If it's not that risky and it's achievable, then do it. I think that's like one of the best things that you can do is take that risk, and just know that it's never too late. If you wanted to do something, it's never too late. Sometimes I wish I started this YouTube channel earlier, but like, you know what? Better late than never, you know? I'm happy I started it. So, hey, it's never too late. That's all I have for you guys. I hope that you learned something. These are things that I wish I knew before I started university. I wish somebody had told me these things, but I think sometimes it's also good to learn these on your own. But remember, you should take everyone's advice with a grain of salt. So don't listen to me. I appreciate your time. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you like me, subscribe. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.